I remember one particular state contest at Al Moana that the boys did really well. All of them did really well. And I remember specifically uh, when they called Andy up for his award because he had won the 12-year-old division, boys 12 and under division. The host of the event called Andy Irons up to accept his award and announce him as being the future world champion.
Andy Irons has made a successful career out of surfing by being a risk taker, positioning himself in the most dangerous parts of the wave, staying on top of his board, and staying stylish. Andy is a great instructor because he remembers paddling over the edge as a child and how scary and exciting it was. He can show anyone a safe and fun way to surf.
Oh, Bobby! This is the spot, huh? This is it, brother. Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah, great time. Good times down here.
So, 3 World Championships, kind of back. This is where you learn how to surf.
Whenever I come home, it's weird. I'll come down here and get a lot of memories. You know, memories of being a Grom, just hanging down here all day long, hanging out with my friends, just surfing. You know, from raining closeout days to really fun, you know, Rip Pool, awesome pine trees. So coming down here, definitely a lot of memories. It was cool. My dad tried to get me to learn when I was really young. I remember it kind of scared me. I was like 4. He tried to get me out there, and I didn't really like it. It was kind of scary. The ocean was a big place when you're a little kid. So it took me till like when I was 7 or 8. Like 4 years later, my cousins and all my friends started getting into it, and they just kind of take me with them, and me and my brother would tag along, and I think that's when I really kind of got the bug for surfing.
Yeah, once you get hooked, right, it's on.
For sure, once I started, I mean, it was like the only thing I wanted to do.
All right, well, now it's time. World champ, Andy Irons, 3 times. So who better to learn from? Let's start it out right now.
Go for it. All right, Tamba, how you been, brother? Good to see you.
Yeah, right on,
my
brother.
brother, my good friend Chris.
How's it going,
Nice
Tamba?
to meet you.
Yeah.
Hey, we're doing this learn to surf thing, and I wonder if you got any like soft longboards or something we can use.
Yeah, I got a couple boards out there. You can check them out. An epoxy board and a soft top might be perfect for you,
Cool,
bro.
cool.
Guaranteed.
Check it out.
So many boards, so little time. There's millions of different kinds of surfboards out there, so for this first lesson, let's just keep it simple. A surfboard is a symmetrical plank that has a nose, a tail, fins, deck, rails, and a bottom. A longer board will provide more drag and stability than a short board. Since we're just beginning, we want to take it slow. We're going to find a fun board, if you will, about 8 feet tall and a few inches thick. You're going to want a big, stable board to learn on.
Tom, these boards are great. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, these look like they'll be stable enough for a beginner to get up on. So why is there a soft one and a hard one? What's the difference?
Well, the soft one, it's a little easier to ride. It's a little less hard. When it hits you, you don't have to worry about injuries as much. But at the same time, you can get the basics and the fundamentals of surfing.
All right, there's 2 kinds of boards here. One's soft. We don't need wax for that one, right?
No.
All right. Now this is the hard top. You need some kind of traction, so I'm gonna go with wax and a traction pad. Huh. Andy Irons promo.
What do you know?
Wow, you're pretty cool, man. All right. Well, how do you put this stuff on?
You're going to put that on your tail. Make sure you use the wax on top of your board, not the bottom, because you need it for the traction. You're going to want a board bag to protect your investment, maybe a couple inches bigger than your board. This one looks great, so we'll just slide into one of these bad boys.
All right, next thing you're going to need is a leash. It's got to be as long as the board. This will stop your board from going in, hitting rocks, or nailing somebody when they're trying to just swim and mind their own business. Leashes are very important in learning how to surf.
When you're surfing, you're either going to be using trunks or a wetsuit. When you're in California or in a cold water place, usually you're using wetsuits, vests. And if you're in the tropics or like in Hawaii, you'll be using shorts, trunks. I'd rather be in trunks most of the time, but can't be choosy.
All right, protecting yourself from the sun is the most important thing. I've seen people wear hats, rash guards, goggles, gloves, shoes, pants, everything. It's not about looking cool, it's about being safe in the sun. Andy, 3-time world champ, uses it all the time, right?
You don't want to be 12 looking like 40, so make sure you put it on. It's good stuff.
In fact, sometimes I even like to surf naked, but I wait till the sun goes down. That may be the only instance where you really don't need to protect your whole body at night.
Don't scar me with that. I don't really want to hear about too much information. So Tomba's hooked us up with some great boards, so let's go out there and go surf. So before we get started, let's go over some safety, huh, Chris?
All right, well, surfing's unique because when you fall in water, unlike skateboarding or snowboarding where you fall on hard concrete or hard-packed snow. The biggest thing in surfing is getting hit by your board or someone else's board. That is one of the major causes of injury in the sport of surfing.
That and hitting the coral.
You've got to get out of the way of oncoming surfers because they might not know how to turn or they might just want to run you over. So watch out.
Surfboard, $600. Sunblock, $8. Plate lunch, $10. Surf lesson, $100. The look in your friend's eye right before you run him over, priceless.
Always, always protect your head. That's the most important thing. Can't say it enough. Protect your head. The ocean is always changing and you're not in control all the time out there. So if you go underwater and you come out, make sure you have your hands over your head because you never know what's going to be above you when you come out of the water.
After riding a wave, never jump head first or feet first. You never know what's underneath you.
Yeah, just try to lay down. I mean, we're not trying to scare you here, but think about it this way. Statistically speaking, cheerleading is more dangerous than surfing, so have fun.
Surfing is an art, not a science, and you can ride any way you want. No two waves are the same, and no one masters the ocean. The ocean is ultimately your instructor, but there are certain physical skills that make the basic techniques doable. Let's define surfing. Trying to control an inanimate object in an ever-changing, fluid environment. The only thing that we can control is what we make our boards do by what we do with our bodies. The board is our tool that we will use to ride waves. Surfing is really only 10% riding and 90% paddling. The more you familiarize yourself with your equipment, the more efficient you will become in the water.
All right, bro, what's next?
Next, we're gonna check out stance, standing, and paddling. My little buddy Kaimana's gonna come over here and show us how to do it. Yeah, Mana. How you, buddy?
What's up, brother?
What's up? What's up? What's up? Big man. So, are you ready to do this?
Yep.
Game on. Okay, first of all, let's determine what stance you are.
Now, when you stand up on the board, which foot did you put forward? If it's your left, you're a regular foot, like Andy. If it's your right, you're a goofy foot, like me. So now that we've determined if you're goofy or regular, let's talk about posture.
Good posture.
Good, thanks.
Nice and vertical.
Let's talk about it. Everybody has a different style of surfing. Some people are stiff, other people are loose and noodly. It's all about how you distribute your weight over the surfboard. We're going to teach you the easiest, simplest way to surf. It's the most basic thing. It's just going straight. Style's not going to matter too much at the beginning, but trust me, after a while it will. Most boards have a center line. It's called a stringer. If it doesn't have one of these, just imagine a line going right down the middle from the nose to the tail. Now when you look down at your feet, your toes should be on one side of the stringer and your heels on the other. Keep your feet under your shoulders and your knees bent. Make sure your chest is forward, and for more balance, you might want to put your arms out to the side. Try to just stay centered on the board. This will be the most stable place for you. Now this is a great neutral stance for beginners.
Now we're going to work on standing up as quick as possible.
Want to stand up? Alright, grab both those rails and do a basic push-up. Now keep your weight centered. If you lean too much on either side, you're going to fall right over. Put your front foot on the center line. Now as you stand up, turn your feet so that your toes are on one side of the stringer and your heels are on the other. Assume the neutral stance you learned earlier. Toes on one side, heels on the other.
Yeah, Chris, it's also important not to lock your knees. You want to remain flexible. When you look in the magazines, you'll see guys with similar stance. This is a functional and neutral stance that will help you later. At some point, the ride will end and you'll need to paddle again. To lay back down, simply use your hands on either side of your front foot. Move your front foot to the tail of the board and lie down so your spine becomes the center line of the board.
One of the hardest things about surfing can be catching the waves you want. The bench could be a great tool to practice your paddling, like my friend Kote.
When you're paddling for a wave, paddle like your life depends on it every time. If you don't paddle hard, you're not going to get it. It's that simple. Don't be lazy. Catch that wave.
The best type of paddling is done by keeping your arms close to your board and using deep strokes. Your hands are paddles, so make sure you keep your fingers together. Dig deep and paddle hard. Paddling is a tricep and back exercise. Once you stand up, bring your front foot up between your hands and under your chest. Let go of the rail, and now you're surfing. So once your ride looks like it's coming to an end, don't just jump off. Lay back down and get in control of your board.
And so that's it. Paddle, stand, surf, and lay back down. Now let's put it all together and go do it.
Before you go out, it's important to study the ocean and see where you're going to go out at.
That's where we plan to take you. On land, we're in control. But once you get in the water, the ocean's in charge.
Sometimes they'll be flat for a long time. Then out of nowhere, there'll be a bunch of waves coming in. Good surfers spend a lot of time checking the waves before they go out.
Don't be like one of those guys who just sits out there and does nothing. Study the ocean before you go out. Watch where it breaks. Get in the right spot. That way you'll be surfing in no time. So you ready to drop some science on these guys?
Let's do this.
It's important to understand some basic physics of waves. Waves are energy moving through the medium of water. When wind blows on water, the water molecules bump into each other and create lines of energy. The lines of energy compress and drag along the rising ocean bottom. When the ocean bottom comes up shallow, the lines of energy compress, slow down, and stall, and the top of the wave continues moving and falls down on itself, creating whitewater, which then rolls to the beach. If it gets really shallow, the top pushes over and forms a tube, which is really fun to put your body into. A general physics formula is that a wave breaks when the depth of the water is half of the wave height. The place where the wave breaks is called the impact zone. So waves are rolling energy that break in shallow water. How a wave breaks is a direct result of the ocean floor. So whenever you look at waves at your surf spot, you are looking at a subterranean map of the ocean bottom.
Before you paddle, you don't have to go out where everybody else is. Watch the waves, find your own spot. That just means more waves for you.
More waves, more fun. Humans are 90% water. Being in the water is actually where you're in your natural element.
This is a feeling that all surfers share.
Another feeling we all share in the ocean is getting worked by it.
You're gonna get drilled, thrashed, pounded, ragdolled, pretty much the whole washing machine cycle, and then some.
All right, once a wave breaks, it turns into white water. That's a real tough thing to learn how to get through. Don't get frustrated. We're gonna show you some tips right now on how to get out past that whitewash.
Practice does make perfect.
We're going to practice entering the water. Paddling out to a place in the water that doesn't have many waves, we're going to sit up on our board and practice turning around in different directions, just like you would if a wave was coming.
Okay, you gotta remember to stay perpendicular. When you're going out, all you gotta remember is we're going straight through the waves and catching them right back in. So we'll start with that.
It's important to remember to always surf where there's a lifeguard. If that's not possible, use the buddy system. I surf with Andy, that way we watch each other, you know, I make sure he's not getting in trouble and you know, he makes sure to see all my rad waves. So the buddy system works great, but remember, lifeguard is best. Sometimes surfboards can be used as life-saving devices. All over the world, lifeguards are trained to paddle out to drowning victims, pull them on their boards, and paddle them into safety. Thank goodness for surfboards.
Okay, we're gonna get serious here for a little bit. We're gonna talk about etiquette in the lineup. Let's take a moment for this public service announcement.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by the Hawaiian Coalition for Safer Surfing.
Hello, my name is Tintin Pule. I got 3 things I gotta tell you guys. First of all, you see somebody paddling for a wave, get out of their way. Even if you gotta get pounded by the wave, you know, gotta respect them, get out of the way. Second thing is, whose wave is it? Somebody sit deeper than you, paddling for a wave. He's up already going, get out of their way. The guy in the barrel gets the wave. The guy deepest to the barrel get the wave. Third and most of all, most important, respect. You gotta respect the ocean. You gotta respect the locals. If you stay in a surf spot, somebody else surf spot, respect the locals. And that's all I get for share with you guys. My name's Tintin Pule. Aloha, be safe.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the HCSS.
And just like any other sport, don't go surfing right after you eat. Give it at least a half hour. You don't want to get a cramp or throw up on your board or anything like that. So after you eat, wait at least a half hour, right?
Yeah, no vomiting. Before going into the water, it's good to stretch. You don't want to go out there and pull a hammy. So personally, I like to do a couple stretches. Everyone's different, but looks like Chris has a pretty good stretch going on right now. Okay, a couple good stretches are just a basic touch your toes. You know, one of those, hold it for about 10 to 20 seconds, stretch out the hamstrings. Another one's doing the butterfly, stretching out the hamstrings, you know, getting everything loosened up for riding waves. And then other than that, just maybe doing some arm stretches, just basic shoulder, left, right. And usually that's enough to get you out there.
Okay, and now we're going to show you how to put your leash on your board. It's really simple.
First of all, you want to find the leash plug on the tail.
So most new leashes will come with a string like this.
And it
So
will have a loop ready to go for you. What you're going to do is grab the loop with the knot on one side, put it through the hole, like so, so that it holds in the board. You grab the same end where the string was coming out of, put it through the loop, slap it on, you're good to go. That's going to keep your board tied to your leg, so when you fall or you won't lose it and it won't wash to the beach. And then you're going to grab your bar of wax, and then you're going to take beads on the top. Make sure you're not going to put them on the bottom because that will slow you down. You're going to want to have them on the top where you're going to be standing and paddling so you don't slide all over the board. And usually it's, I like to make squares. Squares are cool. Like that. I can make tic-tac-toes, whatever you want. Side to side to side. It makes it go on easier. And then you just give it a circular motion. And you'll do this all up and down your board. Okay, when you get down to the shoreline, grab your leash, put it on your back ankle. For me, I'm a regular foot, so I'll put it on my right ankle. After you do that, you're gonna grab it so you don't have slackage, and carry it down there so you don't trip on it. The ocean's a place to have fun, but you really have to respect it.
Before you go out, it's important to study the ocean and see where you're going to go out at. When showing up at a beach, find a spot that you're comfortable with. You don't have to go where everyone else is. You can find a little spot for yourself that looks fun, and that's where you should go. While on your way out to the lineup, it's good to pick your board up one rail at a time. It'll help you get through the breakers. Make sure when you're paddling out, you go straight out. Never hold your board parallel with oncoming waves because you're going to get worked and probably washed in.
now we're going to paddle out and find a spot with not many waves. When paddling out, remember the beach techniques we taught you earlier. Keep your arms close to the board, your fingers closed, and using deep strokes. Think of your hands as oars and your surfboard as a boat. Paddling out through the waves can be really frustrating. The best way to push yourself through whitewash is to do a little push-up right before the whitewash hits you. You basically just want to let the water go between you and your board. As soon as the water passes you, you lay back down and paddle hard. If the whitewater is bigger than you can fit between you and your board, sit on your tail and turn the board around. Hold onto the rails. Take it perpendicular to the wave, board pointing up and legs in the water, kind of like an anchor. Now the wave's going to hit you, but don't worry, it's not going to drag you in. Another way is called turning turtle, or turtle diving. It works when a bigger wave's coming at you. You don't want to take it on your head, so do that push-up again, leaning over all the way until you flip the board all the way over and the bottom of the board is on top of the water and the whitewash goes over it. A last resort is bailing your board. It's safe for you, but not for anyone else. Soon enough, you're going to learn something we call duck diving. Now this is a great way to get under waves when you're riding a shortboard. For now, use the waves we've showed you earlier to get past the waves and out into the lineup. When you find a calm spot, sit up on your board. Now we're going to practice turning around. Swirl your feet in circular motions and use your outside arm to help you spin 360 degrees in one direction. Now spin the other way. And this is what's going to help you catch waves.
There's two ways to catch a wave. The first way is to be facing the beach. Let the white water hit you. It'll give you momentum to be able to stand up and ride it toward shore. Now the second way is a little more tricky. You gotta position yourself outside of the wave and paddle yourself in before it breaks. Now this takes practice, so give yourself some time. Eventually you'll be doing this. After you've caught your wave, make sure your weight is centered. Too much weight on your front foot may cause you to nosedive, which we call purling. A lot of beginners after catching a ride will dive off their boards into the shallows. This is a no-no. Don't do this. There's an old saying, never turn your back on the sea. You should know what's going on around you at all times. Experienced surfers can make their boards do what they want them to do. You eventually will be riding waves at an angle. Left, right, front side, and sometimes backside. To surf the wave at an angle or cut down the line, you put your weight down on your toe or your heel side. This will cause your board to turn. Turning happens by placing weight on one side or the other while the board is moving. More weight on one side or the other side will make the board turn. It is important to look and turn your chest in the direction you want to go. You can also paddle for a wave at an angle. Stand up and already be going down the line. Surfing's a blast. We have a lot of fun to look forward to, but there's some practice to come with it. Now that you have the tools and the basic understanding to get started, let's go surfing.
Everyone has to start somewhere, even three-time world champion Andy Irons. Now you have the basic techniques to safely and confidently learn to surf. So get out there and have fun.
watching eyes gaze seaward.